I'm Sarah, and I need to share the terrifying events that unfolded when I moved to Hollowbrook Farm, a place I soon realized was plagued by an insidious and otherworldly presence. My husband, John, and I had long dreamt of leaving the hustle and bustle of the city behind. When we stumbled upon Hollowbrook Farm, nestled at the edge of a peaceful and picturesque countryside, we thought we'd found our sanctuary. The farmhouse was quaint, the fields were lush, and the air was filled with the soothing sounds of nature. The trouble began shortly after we moved in. It was a normal evening, or so I thought, when I heard the first whispers. I was in the kitchen, washing dishes, and John was out in the barn tending to the horses. The voices were faint, like distant murmurs, impossible to discern. Initially, I dismissed them as figments of my imagination, a byproduct of stress or fatigue. But as days turned into weeks, the whispers grew louder, more distinct. I began to hear my name, called in hushed tones, always when I was alone in the house. I confided in John, hoping he would reassure me that I was letting my imagination run wild. Instead, his face grew pale, and he revealed that he had heard them too. The dread that settled upon us was palpable. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the farm, we decided to investigate. Armed with flashlights, we combed through the house, searching for the source of the whispers. But we found nothing, no hidden speakers, no secret passages. That night, as we lay in bed, the whispers reached a crescendo. They were no longer soft and distant but right beside us, in the room. We heard desperate pleas, agonized cries, and chilling laughter. The voices seemed to come from all directions, surrounding us. Then, the apparitions began. I woke up to find a spectral figure standing at the foot of our bed, its eyes empty voids. I screamed, and John jolted awake, but the figure dissipated into thin air. We couldn't endure it any longer. We reached out to a local paranormal investigator, Samuel, who agreed to visit us. He arrived with a bag full of equipment, determined to uncover the truth behind the haunting. As Samuel conducted his investigation, he told us about the history of Hollowbrook Farm. It had once belonged to the Holloway family, who were rumored to have practiced dark rituals. The farm had changed hands numerous times, each owner fleeing in terror. Samuel's equipment registered strange fluctuations in electromagnetic fields and temperature drops. He captured eerie EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, of disembodied voices calling our names. The evidence was undeniable. Hollowbrook Farm was haunted. Samuel recommended a science to communicate with the spirits and find a way to put their tormented souls to rest. We agreed, desperate for a solution. The scenes took place one stormy night, the wind howling outside, and the rain lashing against the windows. We gathered around a table, our hands resting on a planchette. Samuel called out to the spirits, urging them to communicate. Suddenly, the room plunged into darkness. The candles extinguished, and the temperature dropped drastically. I felt icy fingers on my shoulder, and John screamed in agony. We heard a chorus of voices, pleading, accusing, and malevolent. In the dim light of a flashlight, I saw John writhing in pain, his body contorting unnaturally. Samuel hurriedly ended the scenes, and the room returned to normal. But John was left in a catatonic state, his eyes vacant. We rushed him to the hospital, but no medical explanation could be found for his condition. The whispers and apparitions continued to torment us, and the farm seemed to come alive with malevolent energy. Desperate and afraid, I returned to Samuel, who believed that John's spirit had been taken by the entity haunting the farm. To rescue him, we needed to confront the spirit and demand John's release. We gathered our courage and returned to the farmhouse, where Samuel conducted a ritual to compel the entity to reveal itself. The room shook, and a spectral figure appeared, a woman, her eyes filled with anguish. She confessed to being a victim of the Holloway family's dark rituals, bound to the farm by a malevolent force. She had taken John's spirit in a desperate attempt to free herself. Through Samuel's intervention, we managed to negotiate a trade, John's spirit for the release of the tormented woman. The entity agreed, and as we watched, John's consciousness returned, and the spectral woman dissolved into a blinding light. Hollowbrook Farm was finally at peace. We sold the property and never looked back, forever haunted by the memory of the chilling whispers and the malevolent entity that had nearly torn us apart. Now, in the safety of our new home, I can only hope that Hollowbrook Farm has found the peace it desperately sought, and that no one else will ever have to endure the horrors we experienced.